We have to come for them, or they come for us. Rick is dangerous.
The Walking Dead season premiere, Sunday night at 9, only on EMC.
E aí, gente?
Okay, alright. So you may be wondering what the hell all that was about. Just a real quick update. What I'm going to be doing is going through the latest developments.
E aí, gente?
Uh-oh. What the hell? Okay, alright. Oh, that's me. What the hell all that was about. Just a real quick... Whee! Okay, there we go. Actually, I do want that. Doggone it. In case anybody wants to chat, I'll have to pause the video. Oh, pause the video. There we go. Oh, look at that. Okay, great. It says I'm offline, but I'm not offline. I'm actually online. What does it matter? Anyway, so for posterity's sake here, I'm going to be going through what the new plan is. We were doing this thing about food fights and first-person shooter, too complicated. So now we're going to do like a side-scroller, sort of an homage to the Super Nintendo era. Side-scrollers, holy cow. Suddenly I'm exhausted. And one of the things I wanted to show everybody was, my original thought was, what if we could do something like Rubber Ninjas? Because there's nothing like Rubber Ninjas out there right now that I have found that's worth a damn. And Rubber Ninjas is really fun, and I wanted to get everybody, give everybody a look at what Rubber Ninjas is like. And this kid is super loud, so we're just going to turn that way down. Okay, here we go. So, your fighters can have different shapes and sizes, but basically all they are rag dolls, and you throw them at each other, and they have all these different weapons and whatnot. It's super fun, but it's only on the Mac. I've not seen anything else like it. It has really great dynamics or whatever. I don't know why they keep screwing around here. There we go. The camera controls are really cool. When they go and hit each other, it zooms around. Okay, so my thinking was, do something like this, but do it with fruits and vegetables and whatnot that are tied together, kind of like a Voltron thing. And then even that was like, that's probably a lot of work, because there's the ragdoll, then there's the camera, then there's knowing when to slow it down, and knowing how to, when do things get knocked off and whatnot. So a lot of physics going on there. And so I decided, okay, that's probably a little bit too complicated as well. Now what I'm going to do is zoom in here to this document that I made earlier, and we're going to take a look at this real quick. So you can see in this is our design document, Fury's Food Fight 5. It's still that, although I may change it, because now our hero is this guy basically, who is he's going to be a vending machine that's come to life. And let's go through some of the design document sections here. Emphasis on silliness. This is not going to be a totally new game mechanic. It's very much a strict side-scrolling, kill the enemy and move on to the next part mechanic. So a variety of vending options and jokey humor. So it's going to rely on its humor primarily. And here we see a mock-up of our hero. And so what's in the game? It's a food fight simulator where you play a vending bot 9000 that has come to life and must battle other vending bots throughout a factory. Why create this game? I like robots, food fights, and silly humor. Where does the game take place? It's in a generic factory filled with evil vending machines. So you control the vending bot in side view, and just one person at a time basically. And you go through and you attack the other vending machines with food that you have pre-selected, and then you can take the food off of the vending machines that you vanquish. Now, the gameplay is that they will have like one specific type of food, so soda machine or broccoli machine or whatever it happens to be. And as you defeat them, you get to add some of those into empty slots that you have. If you have no empty slots, then you can't loot anybody. But at the very beginning, you get to choose what you're like the only vending machine that has multiple options or whatever. And of course, each food has different attributes. So it has maybe shorter range, but it has higher damage or whatever. And then of course you use these foods to attack your opponents, and they do different types of damage and whatnot. Plus, you can only carry so many items, and you don't get really any. I said no power-ups, but I think the power-ups will be when you vanquish one of the other robots. Then you get a power-up. But there's not a whole lot of power-ups through the levels necessarily, but we may change that later on. So it's a Super Nintendo style scrolling, but the assets will be in 3D, but the background will be, and this is a scene from The Simpsons, where they had the repeating background. We're gonna have like a hand-drawn background style, and but the vending machines will be 3D, and we'll actually create those in Blender. And I may launch Blender here in just a second to show you real quick. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and do that. Launch Blender and show you real quick what we can do with this. So first, let's take this, let's scale it on the Z like that. Scale it on the Y. There we go. See, we can just make a vending machine really quickly, just like that. And then let's go into oops, not that. Let's go into editing mode, and let's use our loop, and let's just click Control R. Where is it? There it. So Control R makes a loop all the way around your geometry. So it's just creating lines, and it's bisecting it like that. And the reason why that's going to be cool is here in just a minute. I'm going to switch over to, yeah, I've got vertices selected, so I'm going to select, oh, hey, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Select, okay. What am I trying to do? Oh, shift, there we go. Shift, select, 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 and then let's see, as I do that, I can actually pull this out a little bit like that, you know, just to get a basic vending machine style look. Now, of course, later on we'll go through and we'll refine this quite a bit. Let's hit A. We're going to select all of the vertices there. Go back to Control R. Where did it go? Control R. There we go, and put it down here, and then Control R and do another one and put it right here. And I just want to show you guys, let's go into the faces, select this face, and hit H for hide, and see, there we go, look at that. It's like a very, very basic vending machine. Now the question is, are we going to give this guy arms? Are we going to make him like a Dalek? Is he just going to be rolling around somehow? That's all to be determined. So we'll see what we can actually accomplish over time. Hey Crazy CJ. So the name of the game is, right now anyway, we've got it called Furious Food Fight 5, but maybe call it Vending Bot or something later on if we figure that out. Whoops, where'd you guys go? Hold on a second. There we go. All right. And then, hey, Wukash, thanks y'all for joining. Again, we're just going through the basic stuff right now as to what I'm going to be doing. So let's get back into the actual game design document. Hey. Okay, so you're in a factory. You're going to choose your weaponry, which will be all the vending machine stuff, all the different food and whatnot. Here are the 4 levels we've got. You're going to start at the top in a cafeteria, logically enough, and then you'll go down to an office area, then a factory floor area, and then the reception, which is the main floor, and then you're going to escape out the front door. And that's really the end goal, is trying to escape out the front door. I'm not sure if that means you have to destroy everything in your path, or if we'll have some way of escaping. That might add some depth to the gameplay, where you've got maybe some opportunity to like emergency escape past something if it's difficult. And then, in terms of length, what we're trying to figure out, and down here, there's a thing on scale. So what I'm thinking is on the screen, if you think in terms of how big is a vending machine's maybe 3 to 4 feet deep. So I'm thinking on screen, you can see maybe 30, I'd put 20 to 30. I'm thinking now more like maybe 50 feet at a time. And then that also changes the scale of the total floors, which later on I said was like 100 feet. But it'll need to be like 300 feet or something. It's going to take you a few minutes to get through there, right? We want it to last a little bit longer than just a couple minutes. And so it's a drab factory. Like I said, Klasky Csupo drawing style. Klasky Csupo did Rugrats and the first couple of seasons of The Simpsons. So sort of that rough hand-drawn style. These, of course, are the key locations, and I'll be drawing some backgrounds for these soon, where you've got cafeteria, cubicles in the offices, robots in the factory, and then reception just has like elevators and couches. And then we have stairs. Now you're going to go to the next level by going down the emergency stairs on each level, which for some reason zigzag. Maybe we'll change that later on. Okay, so traveling, basically you just travel straight through. You go across the floor and then down and then across that floor. The scale should be big but not huge. So yeah, you're seeing about 50 feet at a time, and then the objects, you only have just ammo and then power-ups maybe. You're basically a walking gun, so you don't need much more than that. Oops, sorry about that. Hey, okay. So we got drab office lighting. It's going to be around sunset. You want to make it like after work, but there's nobody at work anymore. And then when we look at the art style, this is sort of what I'm thinking. If you've ever played the old school game Clay Fighter, you had actually photographs of stop motion clay figures and then a different style background as much more the bit art. So think something like that. Like these will be 3D rendered vending machines, but then the backgrounds will be like a hand-drawn style. And we'll be using Unity, Blender, and Photoshop to do that. And then in the game engine, all we're going to really need to track is ammo, damage dealt, our own health, and then any power-ups. Very basic. Collision detection, we'll be using sprite boundary boxes. And, damage, maybe we can block it or deflect it or minimize it if we have certain kinds of power-ups or armor or something like that. So these are some things to think about as we start building things. We're going to go ahead and start building assets in the next episode. And our controls are super easy. Left, right, maybe a jump button, and then firing with a space bar. So maybe shift for jumping, arrow keys. And one thing to think about on that is if you're going to go to a mobile game, you want to keep it as simple as possible, because there's, even though there's screen real estate, you can pretty much draw anything you want to on here. You want to keep it simple because those buttons change. And I've seen most of the really popular games on mobile wind up being very simple in terms of their controls, right? You're either tilting the thing or you're just hitting a couple of buttons, but you're not having to move all over the screen, unless it's something that's turn-based, right? Or RPG, some of the basic, like not a Twitch game like this, basically. So we've got 4 flat levels, and again, I said 200 feet of hallways. Let's do something more like maybe 1,000 feet. And the reason that makes a difference is because we've got to actually build that in Unity. So when we build the level, we've got to figure out how many, and then how many bad guys do we have in between you and the end of each level. So if we're showing 50 at a time, how long then traveling and then hitting each bad guy, how long does it take you to get across there? And if you multiply that by 4, then that's kind of how long it would take to play through the whole game. It's pretty easy to actually figure all that stuff out. Let's see. And then you enter and reappear in a new level. So your game characters, you're the Vending Bot 9000, and you're the only one in the game that can store multiple types of food. You get to choose your starting ammo when you create your character. That basically is the thing where you're deciding what you're going to actually be holding when you first go through. And then again, you got a tough boss. Let's say would be soda cans. Those are really hard and they hit you and they deal a lot of damage. Maybe there's someone's like a popcorn machine and it's just shooting popcorn at you and it barely does any damage. And our user interface actually, boom, there you go. It's very much inspired by Super Nintendo era 90s side scrollers or fighters. You're going to have a toughness meter or hit points or whatever up here. They'll have the same thing, and then you'll be walking through until you beat them up. It's like the Simpsons game. If you've ever played that arcade game, it's horrible. It's horrible, but it's great at the same time. So very much a side scroller from the 90s. And then some of the humor comes in where, like, different types of food will be your weapons. So like spaghetti. I don't think I've ever seen a spaghetti vending machine, but that's one of the things we'll have. So like this is a quick list: spaghetti, pizza, ice cream, lemons and oranges, bananas, soda cans, tuna pouches, gelatin, Jello. Basically, I just don't want to get a trademark issue. Corn, but grilled corn for some weird reason. Nuts, candy, and fruit pies. And as I think of other things, we may put some stuff in there. Maybe like fruit roll-ups or something. I don't know. Again, we want to stay away from any kind of like trademarked whatnots. In terms of music, we're going to go with 90s style, chiptune, sort of upbeat electronic music. I'll see what I can find out there. Maybe we'll make our own. Pretty straightforward sound design, though. Just music, background with special effects as you shoot and move and that sort of thing. It's a single-player game. You go through, you destroy stuff or you escape. There's the story. One night, a strange surge of energy makes all the vending machines come to life, and you must escape. Total gameplay, I'm estimating, is around 30 minutes. And again, this is a quickie game. It's more of like a series of jokes. And there is a twist ending, which I don't think I've detailed in here yet. Victory conditions, either destroying all the evil vending machines or getting to the main floor and exiting the building. But here's the twist ending. For those of you who are watching, if you don't want to know what the ending is, then you need to close your ears. But in the end, the police outside destroy you because they think you're a bad robot. So it's kind of a tragic game in the end. There really is no way to win. I mean, you win, but then you're quickly killed. It's very sad. Miscellaneous, and this is just stuff that we have here. So there we go. There's Homer calling in. He's a referee, I guess. No, just kidding. And then we're gonna have the appendices as we go through and create the user interface, figure out which objects we need to create. We won't need the networking appendix because we're not going to do multiplayer. And then the character stuff. So I'll need to sketch out the characters and the different bad guys, the different bosses. We'll have to have a different vending machine for each food. So that's where that comes from. Trying to limit it to 12 is trying to think of, okay, then I've got to do vending machines for each one of those, right? Because they only vend one thing. You can handle whatever, but they can only vend one thing at a time. So that's what we've wound up with, folks. So that's what we're gonna alter our plans to do something a little bit simpler. We're just gonna scroll across. We're gonna shoot things, and we're gonna do damage, and we're gonna take damage, and we're gonna keep going. And at the end, there's gonna be a cutscene and twist ending. Boom! There you go. So. Stay tuned next time. We'll start building some vending machines in earnest. I know we just did a real quick little deal tonight. Let's get back to that real quick. Yeah, see, it's like or that could also be a fancy refrigerator these days, but that's a lot of vending machines are basically just refrigerators. So we'll see how much personality we can give this vending machine as it goes through life in the big city. And that's it, pretty much. So tune in next time. We're going to start doing these at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays because we're going to streamline a little bit and try to do 10 o'clock shows on all the nights where we do shows. Thanks for watching.